Welcome to BODcast, the Business of Dentistry podcast, brought to you by Practice Plan. BODcast delivers the best business advice, real-life stories, and practical hints and tips to make your practice a more profitable and sustainable business. And now, here's your host.
Hi, welcome to today's edition of BODcast. My name is Suki Singh. I'm the Regional Support Manager with Practice Plan. I'm joined today by Marcus White. Hi, Marcus.
Hi, Suki.
We're going to be discussing 5 ways in which digital intraoral scanning has changed the way that Marcus runs his dental practice. But just before we do that, Marcus, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself and just saying a few words.
Of course. So my name is Marcus White. I have a private practice in Yorkshire, and over the last 6 years we've been fortunate enough to get involved in digital dentistry and intraoral scanning, and more recently seen how that has dramatically changed the way we run our business and has fundamentally changed the infrastructure of dentistry for us. So more than just the clinical aspects, but the way we run our business and the patient's journey through our practice has changed because of that.
Okay, so let's start by asking you, why do you think most dentists should buy a intraoral scanner?
Okay, great question, Suki. So most people who are looking into the market for an intraoral scanner are looking at the clinical aspect because they think they can take more accurate impressions digitally and have crowns that fit every time. And that's why we started 6 years ago, but that is not what I'm talking about today. So what I want to talk about is the impact it's had, and what we've seen over the past 12 to 18 months in particular is the revenue growth that we've seen as a direct result of intraoral scanning.
So you're saying that the business reasons are more impactful than just, from what you just said, just buying an intraoral scanner is
completely. And when any business owner looks at a reason to invest in any new equipment, they want to see hopefully a return on investment, or at least a direct link to how their business is going to improve. And we did the same thing. Initially, we were looking at the clinical aspects and thinking, well, we wouldn't need to buy pressure materials or we'd have less remakes. But like I say, more dramatically in the last 18 months, we've seen how it's changed revenue, changed the way we communicate to our patients, changed consultation and record keeping, just to name a few. So we're going to go into these in a bit greater depth in a second.
So let's talk about the consultation process. So you said that has changed, so can you elaborate on that a little bit, please?
Absolutely. So the thing that changed for us more recently, so when we had a scanner in the early days, it had a small screen and it captured images, and we made new teeth with it. But more recently we've invested in an iTero, and it's got a fantastic colour screen, and that's helpful for us, but also for the patient to see problems that we discuss with them. So what I'd say in some of our courses that we run is that for over 200 years, when dentists have been looking at patients' teeth, they've seen them one at a time in the back of a dental mirror, but now that whole perception's changed, because when we scan we see both arches together, we see cause and effect, and we can diagnose problems completely differently. And then when we go to discuss those problems with a patient, we do away with the reliance on that patient trusting us. They don't have to read an x-ray, they don't have to understand any technical jargon. If we point at a broken tooth, or we see that a tooth's gotten longer because there's nothing underneath it, or cracks, they see it for themselves. So what we found is that means that they buy into any solution that we offer more wholeheartedly, and that's just one of the ways that it's dramatically changed the consultation process.
Sounds like it's a lot clearer than for the patients to see it visually.
Exactly.
Clearer to make those decisions.
Exactly.
And the team, Marcus, has the way that you're approaching this, has that had an impact on the team and how their day-to-day working at the practice has changed?
Yes. So I was the first one to sort of, I always carry out all consults at the practice, so I was the first one to notice these changes and the way that patients were accepting not only more treatment plans but more comprehensive treatment plans. So instead of them just be concerned about teeth at the front of their mouth where that they smile with, when they see the gaps at the back they would want to change those too. But more recently I've stepped back from the consultation process, and now every single new patient sees a treatment coordinator for what we call a preclinical consult first. So they have the colour scans, they're given a range of treatment options, and based on those options, if a patient wants to move forward with the treatment, then and only then do they come see me for a more definitive and a more final treatment plan. So it means that every single patient I see has already been converted, really. So that's how it's changed the team, because we've upskilled them, because they're getting rewards in terms of how they're having an impact on the growth of the practice, and that's the impact for them. In terms of the consultation as well, one of the second massive impacts that the intraoral scanning's had is consent. So if you think for a minute how every colour scan we take is kept in the cloud forever by iTero and by any other scanning system you care to use. So that's a colour record of that patient, how they presented to you on that day. That beats any colour photos you could take, any notes you could write, and last forever. And any subsequent appointment you take with them, the same. Then when you present your options to them, often now we do what we call digital consent. So whatever we want, if we're going to do some veneers or some ortho or anything, they will see a visual of that. Created by a digital lab, and they will confirm that's the direction they want to take things. So once again, you're not just telling them, I'm going to straighten your teeth, I'm going to give you some veneers, you're showing them exactly what they're going to look like in either format, and they consent to that. So that again is massive and massively protective for you and for the patient.
Do you feel that the patients then trust that a little bit more, possibly, than whether it was if it was just verbally seeing something actually on screen?
Of course, and the point of the matter is you have to live up to that promise as well. So whatever you commit to do, there is quality control. That means that you do deliver on it, because those digital records are replicated by your lab. So, you have every confidence that what you promised them you can deliver. And all those things happen. And then the age-old stuff still comes in. The word of mouth comes in, because when a patient's come and you presented them a visual, you delivered on that visual, they talk about the digital scanner that let it happen, and that how you're, unique in your street, town or county to be able to offer that. All that grows your reputation.
So not only are you giving the patient a far better experience, possibly from before you had these, the digital scanners, to you're actually getting more revenue from the fact that they're referring new patients in.
Everything. So you're seeing how it all feeds things. You've got better records, better consent, better reputation, better outcomes, and just because you embraced some technology that is already out there. This is not on Tomorrow's World. I don't know if any of that show's still on, but this is not, you can get these now. It's just how you have to use your creativity, because one of the other things I say, Suki, is that scanning's not just about waving a scanner over 20th century dental techniques. You do have to reimagine things. You do have to redesign how you carry out processes. So there is a learning curve, and that learning curve is changing the way you carry out your dentistry, changing the way you offer things to your patients, but then the rewards, will pervade everything.
Yeah, touching upon that, I suppose there's going to be dentists listening to this today that may want to learn a little bit more. Is there any training courses that are available? Is there anything that you
Absolutely.
could talk about?
So, I'm talking about iTero primarily because that's the system we use today, but we have used Trios and we have used Ceric in the past, and I'm sure they all have good training available. The important thing is what we offer in addition to that at our practice is we offer mentorship and some courses we carry out once a month where customers can come down and see how we run. So what we've got, it's live and breathe digital, because it's all very well reading about it or being told how to do it, but to see how our practice runs with live patients often helps fill the gaps, fill the blanks in people's imagination about how it's really going to work. So yes, that is important, but more than anything, I believe you just need you need a little bit of courage, a little bit of creativity, just to take these new concepts and try them in your own practice, in your own business, because they are game changing.
So moving forward, it's something that is going to just become more and more prevalent, I suppose, within dentistry. More and more people are going to do this or want to do this, and from what you're saying today, it's definitely something everybody should consider.
Suki, it's like the iPhone in your pocket. Yeah, it's ubiquitous. It's inevitable. It's coming to every practice. It's not a question of if, but when. Right. So it's a question of definitely doing it. That's the question. Okay. So. It's about starting that process, picking a system you're going to be happy with, because you can see there's changes from day one. That the changes that we saw to our revenue, which were 33% increase over the first 12 months. Right. So I'm not promising it's going to take 5-6 years. I'm saying in the first 12 months you should see these changes to how your business can grow, how you can communicate to your patients, upskill your staff, and all at the same time keeping impeccable clinical records, which is so important.
Sounds like you're saying that intraoral scanners will be revolutionary within dentistry, and it's something that everybody should really try and embrace.
Absolutely. I couldn't encourage it more, and hopefully that's the message our listeners are going to take home today, and I wish them well.
Thank you, Marcus.